Hey folks, this is BestInSlot and welcome to our very first weekly mod showcase for Jurassic World Evolution 2. I know what you're thinking, mods already? That's madness. It is madness. People work bloody quick. Now, because this is very early on in Evolution 2's lifespan, I do have a few disclaimers to get out of the way. This is important stuff. First things first, some people will say this is too early, that you should enjoy the game in its current form without having to mod it so early. And to an extent, I actually agree with that. I'll talk about that in just a moment. But I would say that if people want to mod, it's their choice, it's their risk, it's something that they take on themselves. If it works for them, it works for them. If it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you. We don't need to police how other people enjoy their content at the end of the day. The main thing I want to talk about though is that it is very early on. You know, the game is going to update a lot, and when the game updates, mods will break, save files will be lost, games will be lost, things will go badly. That's kind of an inevitability at this point in time. So, although I'm going to showcase these mods, really just because I think they're really cool, and because I think the modding community is immensely talented, and I love what they did for Evolution 1, and I think they deserve the support and the showcase in the first place, I would also advise that for most people, I know this sounds counterintuitive to what I just said, but for most people, they probably shouldn't roll with the mods. If you want to, it's up to you, but you've got to accept that your game is likely to break, and when it does, it's not the responsibility of myself, it's not the responsibility of the mod makers, and it certainly isn't the responsibility of Frontier. And I think that's one reason they've been hesitant about modding, is people go and break their game, and then they go complain to Frontier about it, which is understandably quite annoying. So, I think if you want to do this, you absolutely can, but you've got to accept that you are taking on a risk, and it's not a, oh, they might break your game, it's, they will at some point break your game. It is an inevitability at this point in time. So I would recommend holding off, and what I'm going to do here is every week, I'm just going to showcase the best mods of the week. Personally, I'm then going to delete them, and I'm going to play with a completely blank version of the game for my regular playthroughs. So I don't want people to panic. You know, when we come to sandbox mode in a couple of weeks or something here on the channel, we'll be playing a modless version of the game. I'm simply installing them to showcase them at the weekends. Does that all make sense? Hopefully that tracks logically with people. I think the community and what they're doing deserves to be showcased, but I personally want to enjoy the game modless, at least for a long time, probably until the updates stop. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. It depends how quick the updates are, but for now at least, I would recommend enjoying the base game as it is. But if you want to, you know, check out some mods or just check out some cool stuff, this is what we're here for. So, hopefully I can straddle both of those worlds. We'll find out as we go. Anyways, that's enough disclaimer. I'll make that much shorter in future videos, but I really feel it's necessary in this part 1 to explain the thought process and what's going on here. With all that said, I want to give a shout out as well to Harlequin's Ego and Anaki and Hendrix and all the people who work on the mod tools for this game for just getting to work so quickly, getting everything set up and rip-roaring to go after only 9 days. It's pretty incredible work, it must be said, and they should be applauded as well as the individual mod makers themselves. Speaking of which, let's get started. We're going to kick things off with a set of 4 mods by the immensely talented Kaio Denick. Now, Kaio has often focused on new features more than anything else, and there's a bunch of those to show you. So one of them is, of course, the expanded terrain tools. They've returned already. If I go into my slope, for example, we can make a big-ass slope, like so, no problem. And if we want to lower terrain, all the way down to the pit of the earth, to the center of the earth, and stuff like that. There's also, of course, the free build mod. This gets rid of those annoying red lines where you're not allowed to build somewhere. So if you want to have your fence go across your path like so, you can do that. If you want to put a lagoon in the middle of an exhibit, you can do... I've just ruined my exhibit. You can do that as well. Free build just lets you put anything anywhere, basically, which is really handy for sandbox builds in particular. The next of the mods I want to showcase by Kaio Denick is expanded speed controls. Just like it was in Evolution 1, we can now pause time, which is, you know, in the game anyway. We can resume time normal, but we can also slow down and speed up time much more than Evolution 2 would normally allow. So if we want to speed up time, you'll see in here we've got an Amargasaurus hatching in a few minutes. If I speed up time many times, you'll see things going a little crazy, and we click here and it is flying by much quicker than the regular rate for Evolution 2. So the expanded speed controls let you speed up time much quicker, as you can see. But then if we wanted to slow things right down, we can reset like so by hitting that button, and then I'm going to hit the dash key a few times. And what we can actually do is go from high speed to super slow motion, like so, to the point where they are barely moving at all. And I'm going to reset that, see they go back to normal. And what if you slow it down just a little bit, maybe 3 times? There, you can see the movement of the flippers very slightly, but it is much slower in general. So if you want to get like really dramatic shots of your dinosaurs and stuff like that, slow motion is obviously super duper helpful. And I might have to use this for some of the animation showcase videos, just because Frontier took slow motion out of the capture mode for some reason. So that is a few of the tools. There is one more to show, something I've been crying out for generations, and that is the first person mod. And what we're going to do is we're going to hit Control X. Oh yeah, there it is. And you can jump, and you can crouch, and we're very short, it must be said. Although maybe this is how tall the humans actually are. We can sprint. Oh wait, I think I'm in. There we go. We can sprint, we can crouch, we can do all this kind of stuff, and it just plays like, you know, like a regular first person. Oh, we are actually the right height, aren't we? Hello humans. Wow, humans are short. Yeah, it's really cool. Again, this is something I really want in the game. Just as a really cool way to kind of explore your park and see it how your guests see it, which is apparently from here. That's kind of crazy, actually, when you think about it. Quite hard for them to actually see anything, really. But yeah, big fan of this as well. Really recommend this one. And if we want to go super speed while we're down here. Anyway, I'll stop now. So, those are the 4 mods I wanted to highlight by Kyodenic. Absolutely incredible stuff, as Kyodenic always does. Now, let's move on to the dinosaurs. We're going to start off our species highlights with a slightly remodeled Amargasaurus by Nanolacensis. I love that so much. Absolutely adorable stuff, as the Amargasaurus always is, but I think the remodel here is pretty clear to see. The head shape has obviously changed fairly dramatically in terms of the general shape, really. The limbs are both skinnier, the body generally has been de-chunkified a little bit. They are minor paleo edits, just to bring the dinosaur a little bit more in line with what we thought it probably looked like. The one thing that needs to change, of course, is these front 2 spines. It should only be a singular spine, so maybe we can get that down the line. It still looks fantastic, it still looks like Frontier's Amargasaurus, you know, but it's just a little bit more paleo accurate. Whether this is something you care about is totally up to you, but yo, the option's there if absolutely need be. And, you know, things are pretty chill. We're not going to see any totally crazy things too early on, although there is a Spinosaurus mod by Josabar that I'm not going to show you, but it might be worth going to check out on Nexus just for the hell of it. Now, next up, we're going to check out another slight increase of paleo accuracy. This time, it's the Elasmosaurus made by Zach, who did some of the very best dinosaurs for Evolution 1. Now, I've got to say, I really like this. It tones down the super craziness of Frontier's Elasmosaurus with the many spikes, but it's still spiky. It still looks like a Jurassic World creation. The head shape has been remodeled to be a little bit more paleo accurate, but I think you would say it still stands out against the other plesiosaurids in the game. The neck has been made quite a bit longer, as you can see. The tail has been remodeled as well. It's funky, but it's less funky than it was in the past, and I believe the flippers have been curved as well. I like that it still looks like the Frontier Elasmosaurus, but a slightly less crazy version, basically. It's still pretty crazy, but it's slightly less crazy. Again, up to you whether this is something you want to see in your games. I actually really like the Elasmosaurus already, so I'm, you know, careless about this, but it's cool that it's an option for people who want it. And that's really what modding is all about, as far as I'm concerned, about options, about player control, and player creativity. However, sometimes something rather special comes along, and oddly enough, this didn't take very long to happen. TYLOSAURUS by Sweetener. I think you can tell what we're about to see already. That is, it's safe to say, an absolute beauty. It is, of course, the Jurassic Park the game TYLOSAURUS. Not necessarily a fantastic TYLOSAURUS design, but something that's very nostalgic for a lot of us. And it has been modelled here absolutely fantastically. Fits perfectly onto the regular Frontier TYLOSAURUS. Has the right skin coloration. We've got the black body, but then these whiter stripes and the grey stripes and the white, scaly, crocodilian underbelly. Just looks absolutely phenomenal. I can't believe we've got it in the game game already. You knew as soon as we got a Tylosaurus this was going to happen, don't get me wrong, but I thought it would take a little bit longer than this, but it looks so good! This makes me very, very happy indeed. This is absolutely the kind of mod I would be playing with down the line when the updates end and when I actually decide to full-on play with the mods. But shout out to Sweetener for making this happen, because I think this was pretty high on everyone's wish list, really, to say the least. Okay, just one more mod to check out, the best of the best for this week. It's worth mentioning there is another Tylosaurus remodel out there by Wheat. I've chosen the one that I prefer slightly, but there are two options for you already in terms of a slightly more accurate Tylosaurus. But we're going to showcase the Marine TLC mod, also made by Nanolasensis, who did the Amargasaurus, that contains a Tylosaurus and Leopleurodon edit, again just to tone down some of those Jurassic World qualities and bring them a little bit more in line with the actual creature. So you can see there's some pretty vast differences here with the Tylosaurus. The head in general has been essentially... let's pause it just for a moment. Oh, I'm inside you. Has been... let's check out the other one, shall we? Has been essentially remodeled. It's actually got a whole new pattern as well. The flippers have been made much rounder and bigger. The head is completely different. No more of those, you know, the teeth sticking down and that kind of grim sort of look that the Tylosaurus has. And it has lips as well to bring it more in line with the modern versions... well, the modern ancestors of the animal, and therefore we think, you know, something it may well have done rather than the exposed teeth. It's basically just a cool, tame, normal-looking Tylosaurus if you don't feel like you're using the slightly terrifying one that Frontier made, or indeed the Jurassic Park the Game one from Sweetener. Anyways, yeah, Tylosaurus looking pretty cool, but this one I'm quite excited by, mainly just because I want to see the exit animation. Here we go, Leopleurodon. Still very, very cool. I think it may have been the Leopleurodon that got the new pattern, not the Tylosaurus actually. But you can see there's just loads of differences here. The serration on the flippers has gone. We've got the crocodile scoots have been removed. Basically most of the more crocodilian elements of the creature have been removed entirely. It looks much more like a fairly classical Leopleurodon. I actually don't mind Frontier's Leopleurodon. I think that crocodilian-esque look is a very Jurassic World thing. But for those of you who want that paleo version, well, even though it's got a crazy ass skin, you now have a paleo version out there and ready to use. Although again, don't recommend using mods quite yet, but still, if you want to, the option is of course there. Either way, really cool, really well made, blends, I think blends into the game absolutely fine, no problem. It's still got those little touches like the big teeth jutting out and those menacing eyes. There's a lot there that makes it a suitable Leopleurodon, just a little bit less crocodilian in appearance. Big fan. And that's it from me really, folks. Not too much to show this week. I am trying to show what I would consider the best mods of the week. That's not to say there's not lots of other good options out there, because there definitely are. I just picked the ones that appeal to me most personally. This is the plan with modding going forward. Once a week, showcases, no individual videos and stuff like that. When updates for the game end, you know, hopefully 2-3 years from now, then we'll lean full into modding in terms of our own sandbox builds and stuff like that. But until then, I do intend to enjoy the base game as Frontier have designed it. I just think it's really cool to highlight this stuff and take a look at what the modding community is doing. They're all, you know, putting their time and effort and skill into this, and it deserves to be lauded as far as I'm concerned. So I think we can have the best of both worlds, and that's where I'm going to try to live. I'm going to sit very squarely on the fence, because I'm British, and that's what we're good at. Right, thank you so much for joining me. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below of these mods, which is your favourite of the bunch. Of course, they will all be linked in the description, so definitely go check that out as well. And I'll see you lovely folks very soon. Make sure to come back a little bit later on today for the finale of our Jurassic Park Chaos Theory. And of course, next Sunday, or next Saturday, either way, we'll be back with the best mods of the next week. Thanks for joining me. Cheers much love as always. Bye-bye.